What's up, my dearest dudes of the dynasty? This is your dashing commissioner, and on this dark and dreary day, I'm going to do something a little bit different. First off, for a recap of this past week's matchups, I went 4-2 on my picks, but I was a happy 4-2. 4 that I got right, I'm happy that I got right, and the 2 that I got wrong, I'm happy that I got wrong. Because I did pick both of my division mates to defeat their foes, and they both came up a little bit short. But all in all, there was seemed like there was an awful lot of points scored this week. There were 4 teams that put up their highest score of the year to this point. So from the get-go, it sounds like there was a ton of points put up. But in terms of total points out of all the teams, it was only the 3rd highest of the year so far, in terms of total points scored per week by all the teams. So maybe you've noticed a theme. I've been saying a lot of D words today, and that's the theme of today. Today's episode is brought to you by the letter D. So rather than doing a step-by-step recap of all the matchups and stuff, you guys have seen that. I'm going to do something a little different today. Today I am going to describe, using descriptive words, each of the different teams in the league. And all the descriptive words, all the adjectives that I'm going to use, start with the letter D. So that's my theme. So I'm going to go bottom of the standings up to the top. And to start with the bottom, we're going to start with Borkham's Ballbusters. He is a distributor. He is selling his team. I've thrown out offers for a couple of your guys, including Drew Brees and Andre Johnson. And you're selling your team. I see you continuing to do so, and better luck next year. Number 11, we've got Ivan, and I'm calling him the doormat. Part of this isn't his fault. He inherited a not very deep team, a depleted team, and there's only so much that he could do with it, except for all that money that he still has sitting there. Maybe he needs to dig deep into his pockets and pick up some free agents. But as of right now, even though he's ahead of Bork in the standings, I'm giving him the doormat of the league. Chris finally got his victory, his first victory this week. I was happy to see that. I was delighted because you beat my division foe. Still sitting at 1-5-1. So, I mean, you still got some room to grow, but I'm going to call your team, going for the double points here, DeMarco dependent, because you do not have a very deep team. DeMarco has been amazing this year. It's a D word for amazing. Delightful, dashing. I've used this already. He's been unbelievable. If he goes down, I mean, not that you can get much worse than a 1-5-1 or 1-4-1 record, but if he goes down, your team is hurting. So you are very DeMarco dependent. At number 9, we've got the Fear Boners. Jason Ferguson. His adjective is going to be doubtful. And that doesn't just apply, I guess, to his whole team, but specifically Calvin Johnson. I think that Ferguson is going to start dealing for the future. And this is his one really good trade piece. But if he continues to be doubtful, I doubt that he gets anything of significance out of him. I could be wrong. Maybe he'll come back. He might sit out the next 2 weeks, and then they have their bye week, and maybe he comes back with a vengeance and really, increases his trade value just in time, because we're getting closer to the trade deadline. But Ferguson, I see you being doubtful of moving him for great pieces for the future. Number 8, we got Doug. He's Doug. That could work for his description. I'm going to say that he's dinged up. I'm going to use a more extreme version of that word here shortly. But between Mark Ingram, D'Angelo Williams, and Stephen Ridley, he's got some injuries to some of his depth on his team. And he's a little dinged up. He's sitting at 2-4 right now. I don't know if he's going to be able to make a run or not. But yeah, because right now he's dinged up. He could use another couple of running backs that are actually playing. Next up, I think this is team number 7. We got Mike. I'm going to call your team desperate. This was probably your best dynasty team that you've ever had. This was the year you were going to put it all together. You dared to even say that you were going to make the playoffs. And so far, you got to feel kind of defeated. You're 3-3. Some of your stars, CJ Spiller, can't really call him a star anymore. He continues to struggle. You're in a really hard division. That it's going to be tough for you to win your division, and if some of the other guys continue to win, it might be difficult for you to make the playoffs yet this year. So I'm calling you desperate. You lay claim in D2 that you are the dominant team over there, that your fantasy knowledge is deeper than anyone else's. Show it in D1. Show it in the league where you cannot just pick off all the guys from all of your friends. Although you did that with Bork, I suppose. I did also consider giving you the adjective Django Unchained. Yes, that does start with D, and it's very loosely tied in here. But Django Unchained, starring Denzel, who's black. I think you got a thing for black guys or dark-skinned guys. Maybe like their big dongs. I don't know. You got 3 quarterbacks on your team. They're all black. Russell, Robert, and EJ. 2 of them aren't playing. But there's not a whole lot of white guys on your team. I think you have Garrett Graham and Greg Olson. But Greg Olson is practically black anyway. You have by far the fewest white guys on your team. So I did also consider giving you Django Unchained. Next up, we have pulsating rhino nuts. And earlier I said Doug was dinged up. I'm calling you depleted. Donald Brown, Adrian Peterson. The hits keep coming for you. I don't know if you're going to be able to withstand all of these losses. Right now you are sitting in the playoffs. But you got Mike coming after you. There's guys that you're going to be fighting for, and I'm going to call you depleted for right now. Justin, your adjective is defensive, or organized chaos. Your adjective is defensive. Part of it is because you get a little defensive when I say that you're lucky. You are lucky, no matter how you slice it. But also your team is defensive because other teams just are not putting points up against you. So, defenses don't really matter, especially in our league where we don't even play a defense. But whatever you're doing, it's working out for you. It didn't work out for you this past week. You do drop to 4-2. But overall, you've shown really good defense in this league, in the dynasty so far. So your adjective is defensive. Now we're getting to the top 4. It's the 4 division leaders. It's the 4 dudes that I think are, a cut above the rest. I have the best odds of winning the championship. So at number 4, we've got Durs. We've got the reigning dynasty champion. He is sitting at 4 though right now. What I'm going to call his team dangerous. Said it multiple times that wide receivers win you PPR leagues, and he's got the deepest wide receiving core in the league, even in the absence of A.J. Green. Still, lots and lots of studs on his team that, if 2 or 3 of them go off in any given week, he's going to probably win. So I'm going to call his team dangerous for the rest of us. Number 3, we got the Wright's Rampage out of Raleigh, and I'm calling his team deep. He does have good frontline talent, arguably the best in the league, but he also has guys behind that talent. The most notable that gets added to this mix is, I'm actually going to say, Owen Daniels. He's actually looked halfway decent in Dennis Pitta's absence. So Wrightsman does have some depth to his team. He's sitting 3rd in the standings, even though he has arguably the best team in the league still. Number 2, yours truly. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call my team dominant. I did make a mistake last night. I subbed out Bolden and I put in Davis, which cost me, quite a few points. If I would have played Davis, I would have had the top score in the league again, 5 weeks out of 6. Most points in the league. Got the best championship odds as far as my predictions are concerned. Even though I'm a game behind Rob, I'm going to give myself dominant. Just dominating this league. Even though I have the 1 loss. And then finally, we are up to Rob. And this is a pretty boring one to end on, but he's leading the league, and I'm going to call him defeatless. He's still undefeated. He is defeatless. He did pass me in the power rankings, and because I played Davis instead of Bolden. Not that those matter anyway. I definitely think that one of the top 4 dogs are a good bet to win the championship. So a little bit different recap. Hopefully you enjoyed the differences that I dished out to you here. I will be back later this week for our Week 7 preview. Peace.